idea of what you're doing, of putting this into schools, I think is a fabulous thing. To me, it's like a seed.
My point is, it's all exhausting. Life is just totally exhausting. And this is the antidote to exhaustion.
So it is a quite magical experience.
What do all of these famous people have in common? They have a friend and guru in Bob Roth.
So it's a gift of rejuvenation, it's a gift of awakening, it's a gift to yourself.
That's today on 50 Plus Prime. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tony Fama. Okay, are you stressed? Everybody I talk to is stressed. My friends are stressed. My family is stressed. I'm certainly stressed, and I meditate sometimes. So what can we do about it? Well, the one thing that I hope today's broadcast will make clear is that we shouldn't ignore stress. It's not good for our health. We know that. Come on, right? And it gets in the way of having a good time and just chilling out and breathing peacefully. Well, today, I'm excited to introduce you to Bob Roth. This is the guy who's introducing transcendental meditation and its benefits to the world, and that is not an overstatement, as you're about to see. This guy's a product of the 60s, and he's just a cool cat. His students range from some of the biggest names in U.S. entertainment to some of the nation's most deserving children. Bob Roth is guru to the stars.
I taught Ellen, and it was very satisfying.
Yeah. How long ago did you teach me?
It was like 6 or 7 years ago or something like that, was it?
Yeah, it could have been longer than that.
He's taught Jerry Seinfeld.
Being a performer, the performing and the traveling and the writing, well, those three things are deceptively exhausting. And Bob loves my phone charger analogy, right? This is when I try and explain TM to people, I use the phone charger. I say, you have a phone. Your body's a phone. TM's a charger. You don't have a charger. You need a charger. And they go, oh, that's what it is. And that is really what it is. And I found that it was a superpower.
He's taught Dr. Mehmet Oz, with whom I spoke at a New York City fundraiser for Roth's work.
I learned, my wife learned, all of our kids, everyone on my staff, and Oprah would have her staff sit with him. And I saw how it affected their not just their tranquility, but their creativity. And I said, I want that for my team too.
He's taught baby boomer icon Marlo Thomas.
And I have one of those minds that has the very wild ocean up above. And I thought I'd never find that stillness beneath. But he and I meditate together. And the next thing I knew, I was here. So...
The subject that Roth is teaching is called Transcendental Meditation, or TM.
So it's a gift of rejuvenation, it's a gift of awakening, it's a gift to yourself.
And it's that gift that draws some of the biggest names in entertainment to support Roth in his mission.
I would like everyone in the world to know what transcendental meditation is. I would like them to have access to it. I'd like them to find out, be able to find out. Maybe you're a single mom and you can't get across town. You got a job, but you can't go over to the TM Center. So I'd like people to hear about it on company time, learn it on company time, practice it on company time, paid for by the company as part of an employee assistance program.
Roth is well on his way to realizing his dream, and the time is right.
You know, I remember when I first heard that some little kid, brings a gun into school. And then you start hearing all these problems.
I have a school where there's been 24 murders since January 1 in my neighborhood. I have kids suffering from post-traumatic stress in children.
I can't concentrate. I get overly frustrated sometimes.
Kind of angry all the time.
And then they introduce this technique where the student can dive within and enliven that inner happiness, inner intelligence, inner creativity and love. And they see the problems start evaporating.
1 million school children in 35 countries are now practicing TM for free, thanks to Roth and his partner, Hollywood director David Lynch, who began meditating himself more than 40 years ago. In 2005, the men agreed to form the David Lynch Foundation to combat chronic stress.
Tony, he was stunned. I mean, for him to see the levels, metal detectors and fights and just like warfare, gang warfare. And I said to him, David, back in 1969, I had a desire to bring this to kids, particularly inner city school kids. And I'd really like to do that. And I'd like to start a foundation that would raise money that would bring this to kids. And he said, fine. He didn't know what I was leading to. And then I said, and I'd like to put it in your name because you're well known. And he said, fine.
Roth is the foundation's chief executive officer.
I think education needs in its curriculum a way to prepare a student to learn, learning readiness. Give a tool for the student to get rid of her or his stress, wake up the creative networks in the brain.
Bob Roth was born in Washington, D.C. and grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. His father, Merrill, was a radiologist and a World War II veteran. His mother, Susan, was a teacher. The couple encouraged Bob and his brothers and sister to make a difference.
From a very early age, my parents had a profound influence on me. I grew up with a sense of social service, that it was important to give back.
Roth, who admired Senator Robert Kennedy, initially thought he'd accomplish that through politics.
It took me about a month of college in 1968, fall of 1968, with the divisiveness and the destructiveness to realize that politics was never going to heal the soul of the nation. So I got that from my father. And I thought, rather than just sweeping legislation to change the world, how about education?
Now it was through education that Roth thought he could make his difference, by helping children navigate what he saw as an increasingly stressful and violent society.
There's riots in the streets, and I was a pretty stressed kid. I'm also my father's son, so I'm very skeptical, and I love science. So when I heard about something called transcendental meditation, I thought, not for me. I just thought, I'm a doer, I'm an activist. The traditional understanding of meditation didn't resonate, but
Roth, the great teacher-to-be, had a friend who practiced transcendental meditation and suggested he try it.
So I decided to learn, and Tony, it's taught over 4 days, about an hour a day each day, and my first day of meditation, my thought came to me was not, oh, I want to get enlightened. My thought was, so this is what I'm going to teach those kids.
And he's doing it. 50 years later, these Connecticut high school students are practicing TM.
It can really relax you and help you, be more calm, and it gets your mind real right and ready for any activity you're about going.
Before TM, I was kind of, tense and angry about coming to school. Like, I don't want to be here. I want to be at home playing video games. But now I come to school, I wake up, I'm like, yes, I'm ready to go to school, go home and play my video games. It makes me more relaxed. I feel like I'm loosened up and I'm just ready to rock and roll to go to school.
High school students in Los Angeles are practicing TM.
It just helps me relax. When I'm meditating, it's only me. It's not my friends, it's not my mom, it's not my little brothers. It's just me.
But after learning TM, I instantly felt whole and more happier, and I think that brought out the good in me.
I had a lot of problems in my life, and TM came into my life and gave me this open door to something that I never knew could be there.
And in Arizona, students said TM is helping them take a breath.
It's helped me not get so upset so easily.
Meditation relaxes me. I don't get frustrated as much.
I would get mad all the time and stuff. Meditate for a little bit, and then once you come out of it, you just be you forget about everything that just happened, and you just be cool.
So it is a quite magical experience.
Earlier, Marlo Thomas likened the human mind to an ocean. That teaching comes directly from Bob Roth.
Anyway, you get these giant waves, 30, 40, 50-foot high waves, big waves, and you could think, oh my God, the whole ocean is in upheaval. I'm about to be engulfed, the whole ocean. But the word whole ocean is an extreme, because if you did a cross-section of the ocean, you'd realize the ocean in reality is over a mile deep. So while you may have 30-foot waves here, the ocean is a mile deep, and while it's by its nature turbulent on the surface, by its nature it's silent at its depth. And the mind is the same way.
When we come back, Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr and why they support Bob Roth and the David Lynch Foundation. Welcome back. In our first segment, we heard from several beloved U.S. celebrities who support Bob Roth and the David Lynch Foundation in their work to introduce the healing benefits of meditation practice to anyone within their reach. But Roth is spreading his peaceful message worldwide. And who better than Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr, two of the baby boomer generation's legendary recording artists, to help put an international face on Roth's mission. Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr headlined a fundraising concert in support of the David Lynch Foundation at Radio City Music Hall in New York.
I think it gives you a break from the madness. I can't put it any other way, really. It's just a privilege and a pleasure to be part of this.
It's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's such a cool thing, you know.
We all live in a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine, a yellow submarine.
So the idea of what you're doing, of putting this into schools, I think is a fabulous thing. To me, it's like a seed, that it's for sure, if you take a great seed, an acorn, and you don't put it in the ground, it's pretty guaranteed you won't get an oak tree. But if you put it in the ground, there's a very good chance you'll get an oak tree. And I think that seems to me what you're doing. So that's what I love about what we're involved in now. So that's why I was so happy to do the concert.
Sheryl Crow performed.
To me, is one of the, I think one of the most important events to happen at this moment in our history.
And so did Jerry
I really
Seinfeld.
have trouble now that I'm married 9 years. I can't be with hang around with a single man. If you don't have a wife, what are we going to talk about? You have a girlfriend? That's wiffle ball, my friend. You're playing paintball war. I am in Iraq with real loaded weapons. Thank you so much for supporting meditation and young people. Thanks for coming. Thank you, David Lynch. Good night. It's harder to
Jerry Seinfeld has been practicing TM since 1972.
My point is, it's all exhausting. Life is just totally exhausting. And this is the antidote to exhaustion, just as simple as that. And it changed my life so dramatically. I mean, absolutely from top to bottom dramatically, that I can now do whatever I want. Whatever I want.
And the science supports it.
There have been now, in the last 40 years, 400, count them, 400 scientific research studies that have been published in leading medical journals, whether it's the American Medical Association or the American Heart Association, funded by tens of millions of dollars from the National Institutes of Health, by the U.S. Department of Defense, that shows a constellation of very profound changes that take place, not only reducing stress, but waking up the brain. Can I tell you a good story?
Please.
Yeah, it does. It really helps you. I mean, that it makes a difference. It just calms you down.
That story involves Ellen DeGeneres. Remember, Roth taught DeGeneres to meditate.
I went to her house in Los Angeles, and we were talking, and at the end I said, so why are you interested in learning? And she paused and she said, Bob, I want to maintain permanent connection with the intelligence that runs the universe. And I thought, whoa. And then she paused and she said, and I can't sleep at night. And what I realized is she's the same as all of us.
There's a survey that says, like, just about every young adult stresses 6 hours a day at an average. And we're all stressed today with what's going on in the world for various reasons. So it seems like now more than ever is a time that people should meditate.
Well, I think we're living in an epidemic of stress, and stress is not just something we just sort of want to sort of muscle through. We can't ignore it. It undermines our immune system. We get sick because of stress, digestion, memory, the ability to sleep. It literally, too much stress over time kills us.
Roth teaches that stress does not discriminate based on social status.
It turns out just having a lot of money, or having a whole lot of people know who you are, or being elected to a powerful office does not in any way make you immune from the regular worries and anxieties of life. Worried about your child, worried about a mother or a father. Now you can't sleep. Now you're worried about, am I going to have to take sleeping medication for the rest of my life? Or you're worried about a partner who has high blood pressure. And then start the mantra and we'll do our meditation.
We accompanied Roth to Samaritan Daytop Village in New York City, a residential facility for U.S. military veterans suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder, where TM is making a difference.
I live with a brain injury. My right ear constantly rings. I'm deaf completely in my right ear. It always rings. Sometimes it gives me the craziest headaches, but I still find positivity. And doing the TM kind of slows me down and gives me a little time to focus, and a little inner peace, and maybe every now and again I don't pay attention to that ringing.
In 2008, Justin Geyer served with the 101st Airborne in Kandahar, Afghanistan.
I've been able to sleep better. I've had more clarity in my mind. I've been able to, problem solve easier.
When we come back, the attorney who's represented some of America's leading corporations and biggest names in entertainment and sports, and why TM is part of his daily routine. All right, we've shown you that Bob Roth and TM have made profound differences in the lives of all different types of people, right? From high school students to U.S. military veterans to some of the nation's leading entertainers. Bob Roth certainly is doing important work. He's introducing peace and quiet into places where they're not always easy to find, but where they're always welcome to help people just breathe and relax. Oren Snyder is a lawyer with an A-list of clients. He's represented Facebook, Yahoo, Lady Gaga, LeBron James, and David Letterman. Snyder's is a fast business, a business of big lights and big names. Snyder relies on Bob Roth to help him slow it all down.
I liken it to lifting weights. People know that if they curl weights repetitively over time, they'll get musculature in their biceps. If you meditate twice a day for 20 minutes, you will get musculature in your brain, only the musculature in your brain isn't a muscle bicep, it is a muscle of calm.
For Bob Roth, stress is too damaging an influence to ignore.
Here in New York City, we're in all the top banks. We work with, Oprah Winfrey's whole company, Mehmet Oz's company, Dr. Oz, Ellen DeGeneres, all meditate and all offering it to their employees. More and more people are saying, this is not a luxury.
It's not a luxury for Phil Donahue, with whom I spoke briefly at Roth's New York City fundraiser.
It does take me to another place where I'm focused and where I don't have to read the paragraph twice. And I think it just makes every minute more relaxing.
It's not a luxury for the students Roth's work has touched.
Slowly everything started changing. And then now it's a lot better. There's no fighting in our school. Everybody's getting along.
It keeps me calm through the day, helps me focus on my schoolwork.
I'm just a lot less angry, and so it's also easier to talk to people and communicate, and relationships are a lot easier.
And it's not a luxury for U.S. military veterans who've given us so much of themselves.
You seem very much at peace to me.
I feel at peace, and it's been a long time since I felt like this.
Why? Because it makes sense. Financial sense, cuts healthcare costs by 40%. It just makes humane sense. You want the people you work with or work for you to be happy and healthy. And it makes sense for the whole world, because the trajectory that we're on, more stress, more trauma, it's not going to get any better.
For the little boy who grew up in California, whose parents taught him to give back, it's a lesson learned. Roth has written a book entitled Strength and Stillness, The Power of Transcendental Meditation.
Tell everyone, first of all, the book is so good, but what are you doing with the proceeds?
Well, this book was published by Simon & Schuster. They did a great job. And I told them when I wrote the book that I want to donate 100% of all the proceeds that come to me. I'm donating it back to bring this to our veterans so they can learn to meditate for free, our children, where it's an epidemic of stress, we need to address it together, and I'm very grateful to be able to do this.
So my desire is show Transcendental Meditation is on the same, it's a medical intervention. It's a medicine. It's a way to reduce stress and wake up the brain.
We've told you that Roth and the David Lynch Foundation are responsible for 1 million scholarships for children worldwide to practice meditation for free. Roth has even bigger plans.
And that's just, in 5 years, I want that to be 10 million kids.
Bob Roth has personally visited 35 countries, spreading his message of finding peace through transcendental meditation. So I asked him if he is an evangelist. He said he's an educator, not for a philosophy, but for a medical intervention. This is 50 Plus Prime. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tony Fama.
At the same time, stress is real. And if we have headaches, or if we can't sleep, or if we're depressed, we can't get out of bed, that stops us from being able to fulfill our desires to grow. And so in one simple process of just accessing this field of calm that lies within, we eliminate the buildup of stress and we unlock that full creative potential of the brain so we can be more creative and more resilient and do the things we want to do.